You don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Dead up perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up and better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of What If Naruto Enters Jujutsu Kaisen and is a special grade. Important note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of Nasha Rei-Kun on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. A boy gasped as kneeled by a grinning woman's bedside, the woman's long white hair with a single, just as long, crimson-red streak shifting as she giggled a bit. "He's amazing, isn't he, Satoru-kun?" the woman asked the boy with another grin as he blinked in awe once more, her violet eyes getting a nod out of him. The boy was young, about 11 years old, and sported a similar head of white hair compared to her, but his was pure white all the way around and short, bearing similar fair skin to herself. The most notable detail about him was his eyes. Those eyes of their clan, the GOJO clan, special eyes that weren't normal by any stretch of the imagination, with powers impossible to deny once they were fully matured. But, for now, they were just bright and blue, like her baby's left. Satoru Gojo blinked again before leaning forward more, raising a shaky finger to slowly prod the cheek of the baby. It pudged, and he was left gaping as the woman laughed. "Kei Kushina Obachan, his cheeks are like Play-Doh," Satoru gaped as Kushina Gaju, not Uzumaki, grinned. "Yep, Lil Naru's a bit of a miracle," Kushina snickered as the boy gawked at the baby again. The baby boy, Naruto Uzumaki, opened peach-skinned eyelids to reveal those big all-sapphire eyes that left Satoru awed, the boy focusing on the left one that held a similar coloration to his eyes. I don't get it," he said after some thought, pudging the baby's cheek again, the short blonde fuzz on Naruto's head getting a small finger rub from Gojo. "Why don't they like him?" Satoru pouted as Kushina smiled sadly. "They think Naruto-kun is a bad fortune," she sighed. "Because of his hair." "Well, that and the fact that he has no hint of cursed energy." Satoru blinked. Do babies have cursed energy?" he asked, confused. "Yes, most humans are born with cursed energy. Stress, pain, and a bit of anguish can cause energy to form, even in babies," Kushina said as she brushed one of the baby's cheeks. "But Naruto-kun is different, very different. Tell me, Satoru, how far in your studies have you gotten? Say, for example, in the subject of cursed energy on the advanced level." "I'm not there yet," the way the boy grumbled had her ruffling his hair. It's all so boring. Can't they make it interesting?" Satoru pouted. "But, well, I kinda get most of the intermediate stuff." "Okay, then you won't know this. There are those who can be born without any cursed energy," Kushina explained as he raised a brow, the woman placing a hand on his shoulder, his light blue kimono, covered in black dragonflies, shifting as she did. "For example, there's a man in the Zenin family who has none, and then there are those 2 girls from that man's brother. It's not uncommon in the Zenin clan for such a situation to occur, but for us, it's downright super rare." Satoru observed her and then Naruto. "But so what? He's still a Gaju, right? To me and you?" "Yes, Naruto's as much family to us as he is to everyone else, but they don't want to recognize that. They're rather annoying that way, those old people." She groaned and he snickered, getting a hair ruffle out of her. "Ha, then I can do it, right? I'm the next in line," Satoru grinned as she chuckled. "You'd be his hero. I'm sure Naruto's going to want to be accepted no matter what. He has that look in his eyes that he'll be a little troublemaker, but be the bravest, kindest, most odd kid around," she chuckled. "He's going to face a lot of hardship, Satoru-kun. We need to be around for those times to guide him." Satoru Gojo had no issue with that. He was quite willing. This boy who was his cousin made him feel so protective. 7 years later. Satoru pushed up his small black sunglasses with a grin and a smirk, watching his aunt and his cousin chat in the field they'd gone to. The young man had grown well over the years, hitting a strong growth spurt and standing near 6 feet even at the tender age of 18, even if Kushina would tease him over how slim he was. He was quite built beneath his clothes, thank you very much. Wearing a black double-breasted jacket with a single golden button on his left breast, a pair of fitted black pants, and some black dress shoes, he adjusted his sunglasses once more before walking to the two, a bag underarm with some nice-smelling treats inside. "Yo, auntie, squirt," he called out to the two, both his relatives perking up and looking at him. "Satoru," the two called out with grins that he reciprocated. Well, I guess uncle is still abroad," Satoru asked as he crouched down by the two, holding out the bag. "I got dango," he said mysteriously. Kushina smirked at him, taking the offering. "You're gonna have this old lady feeling cherished. You're 27, in what world are you old? Some say our 20s and teens are light years apart." "Sounds about right," Naruto, the youngest of the GOJO family, snickered as she pinched his nose. "Hwya, cuz," he said nasally as Kushina pouted. "How is it my genes made you like this?" the woman groaned. "You should have taken some of Mina-kun's genes." "I'm special." "Yeah, you are," Satoru snickered as the boy was handed a stick of dango by his mother. "So, what has normal life been like, Naruto-pion?" The boy's face scrunched up, those whisker marks on his cheeks more pronounced as time went on, while the white bandana around his left eye scrunched. "God, I'm gonna hit someone in the head eventually." Many believed said marks were more superstitious nonsense that meant bad things, going so far as to have the blonde hide his special eye and tell him to dye his hair. Satoru just thought the kid was more unique than even himself, what with those fox-like features. So, of course, he treated him like a rabbit, obviously. The boy chopped down on his food while wearing an annoyed look. "I hate it. Who decided I needed to learn all the history of my clan? There are way too many scrolls." "Yeah, I think the same thing," Satoru agreed wholeheartedly as Kushina snickered. "Yes, you two are birds of a feather," she said before groaning. "Why is it like my life is so blessed when it's so annoying?" "HMPH, those old guys are way too nosy," Naruto huffed as Satoru hummed with a nod of agreement. "They keep saying that if mom's gonna be harboring me," the boy twitched his fingers, "we might as well move to the Kyoto sect." "You're moving?" Satoru balked. "Yes, it's why Minato has been going abroad recently," Kushina admitted. "I mean, to be fair, it's not like we, or you, can't visit. We'll just be at the other sector, in their words," she huffed before twitching her own fingers. "To strengthen our hold in that school or some such nonsense. It's really annoying, Databane." "Totally Databeo," Naruto said with a flat expression as Satoru snickered. "So, yeah, gonna be heading towards Kyoto, Aniki," he added, biting off another dango. "I hope I can make an actual friend there, especially with how everything is in Tokyo." "Well, I'm sure I could find you some friends," Satoru grinned as Naruto wore a look of complete concentration. "Is that why Utani-chan hates you? Because I don't think you're good at friends." "Oh, oi." Kushina smirked. "Yeah, they'd all be fine." A week later. Naruto Uzumaki was many things. A reincarnate as this second life would offer him. A reject, it seemed, in the eyes of his clan's elders. And cousin to one of the most powerful jujutsu sorcerers known to mankind, it seemed. Still didn't stop him from trying to fight him, though. Wearing a pair of blue pants tied at his ankles, a sleeveless orange vest over a mesh shirt, and weighted bands on his ankles and wrists, he came feet first down on Satoru's head. The attack was blocked with a raised forearm from the older Gojo before the man swung out lazily, Naruto already down on the ground before he punched at his midsection. Satoru smirked as he blocked it with an open palm before raising a brow as the boy grabbed said palm and swung over it to nearly knee him in the nose. Nearly. Naruto was spun by the hand that grabbed his knee before he righted himself and crossed his arms. Satoru's weak palm strike sent him flying for a bit before he recovered without too much trouble against the stone pathway. "Go Naruto-kun," cheered a young woman on the sidelines, sitting next to a couple others who threw their own forms of encouragement at the fighters. "Beat him up," said one particular woman. "Yuta-ni, I'm trying," Naruto stated. "He's just full of nonsense." "I know." Yutahai Mayori, or Yuta-ni-chan, pointed dramatically at Satoru. Being a woman with fair skin, long purplish-black hair set in a pair of pigtails that rested against her chest, and brown eyes, she wore a white shiitake, red hakama, the pants high on her waist, and a pair of flexible black shoes. "Satoru Gojo, go die." "Rude," the man said with an innocent look. "Ma-Haim-chan. Don't you dare, you son of—" The woman began to grow heated before chuckling came from her side. "Guido, don't stop me." "Stop you?" came the voice of a young man around Gojo's age, height, and build. The man's skin fair, eyes black, and hair black pulled up into a bun with a single odd bang coming down the left side of his face. "No, please, keep going. Satoru, you suck." Wearing a uniform similar to Satoru, his pants were much baggier while he wore shoes comparable to Yutaheim's. "Huh?" The young man in question's eyebrow twitched as Naruto snickered. "Oi, you trying to come and get your ass kicked?" "Don't speak like that in front of children," Yutaheim said as the first young woman snickered. She was shorter than the rest, even Yutaheim, who stood at an average height, with chin-length brown hair, fair skin, and brown eyes, wearing a similar outfit to GOJO. "Shoko, please, you have to help me teach him a lesson." "Come on, it's not like Naruto's not spent a few years around us," Shoko snickered some more. "Besides, do you honestly think that hanging with Gojo leaves you innocent in the ears? I think I heard him curse at Guido the first week we met." Yutaheim's head mechanically turned to the now looking away Satoru. "And Naruto-kun." "Nope, not yet," Naruto declared with a bright smile as the woman sighed in relief while Satoru whistled innocently. "Though, I can tell, he's very close to breaking," the boy said without remorse. "Gojo." "Come on," the man choked. It's not like I did curse around him." "He's so bad at this," Guido said as Shoko snickered. "You'd think he'd be better at dealing with her, but I guess that's Naruto's effect." "Obviously," she said as Yutaheim and Satoru argued over happened and didn't happen. "Satoru used to be a lot more mum," Shoko thought of the word. "An idiot?" "Yeah, that," she grinned. "Nowadays, he's an idiot who basically has a little brother. I wonder how he'll be when they're in Kyoto. I mean, it's not like it'll be more dangerous than if they weren't. Kushina-san is noted as having the most cursed energy known to man. Well, she used to," he said, looking curious. "You know, I know Satoru said, at one point, her cursed energy was so impossible to recognize when he was younger." "She's his favorite relative, of course, he'd notice," Shoko hummed at that. "I mean, I can't imagine what that's like, but couldn't it have just been before he'd hit some black flashes?" "No, I think Satoru's understanding of energy is beyond our understanding. I have to assume it's as he theorized. When Naruto was born, all of it nearly vanished." "Yep, he thinks there's something off about Naruto's heavenly restriction. Maybe it's me, but I think there's more to it than that," Guido said, observing the blonde boy currently working as mediator between the young man and woman. When Yutaheim picked him up and acted like he was luggage, Guido was laughing again as Shoko smirked. "Yeah, he's special in that Yutaheim can't get enough of him," Shoko snorted as they laughed at Satoru's look of betrayal. The following day, Naruto walked around the forests of his home for maybe the last time for the next month. "I guess I should tell ya, old man," he called out to the forest, orange kimono shifting in the wind. "God, how the hell can you sense me?" came a voice from behind a tree, a man stepping out from behind it with his hand on his head. "Honestly, are all kids like you gonna be special? Because I might be out of business if it's true." He was tall, broad-chested, and scarred on his lip. Having fair skin, black eyes, and a mop of black hair that fell over his head, the light gray kimono wearing man smirked as Naruto turned to him. "Don'tcha know, the next generation's always pretty amazin'," the boy chuckled, folding his arms into his sleeves. "Brat, ugh, what is it? You're not gonna become the head, are ya? Because, you know, since I've been giving ya ideas." "Slow your roll there, chief, that ain't it," Naruto chuckled as the man slumped. "No, it's just, I'm likely gonna end up being in Kyoto at the end of the month," he said as the man raised a brow. "Yeah, due to some elderly meddling, it's no good being here in Tokyo, honestly, though." Naruto rubbed the back of his head. "Let me guess, no chance at making friends?" the man asked, crossing his arms. "I get ya, I really do." "Was it this bad for you?" "Honestly? Worse," the man shrugged as Naruto stared at him in horror. "You're lucky you weren't born into the Zenin household. Shit, they'd send you into a pit of second-grade curses every chance they could get if you survived." "They did that to you? As a kid?" Naruto frowned and the man laughed. That's sick and wrong. Ha, well, it's at least survivable. I doubt that. I mean, you have a restriction and crazy power. If they chose to actually fight you. Pissed, I'd win, the man said as the boy rubbed the back of his head. Duh, I said I got thrown in there constantly. Do you honestly think I'd lose to some weak-ass sorcerers? No, I guess you're right, Naruto said with closed eyes as the wind picked up. These clans, their old ways, the people up top, they're so stuck in the past that they can't see beyond their own eyes, he frowned. It needs to change. Big words. Those ain't wrong, but you're up against people who'd find you sneezing enough for a death sentence. I want to change it, the boy said with determined eyes, looking down at his hands. I'm going to become a special grade sorcerer, I will. Once I do, I'll have some leeway, he grinned as the man shot him a look. Maybe I'll even get you back in, old fart. Oi, I'm in my 20s, you bastard, the man huffed. HMPH, he shrugged. At the end of the day, kid, there are some things we can't be and can. I think, in the end, with whatever weird-ass power you think you really have, you'll have to realize what those things are. Naruto shot the man a look. Fushi-sensei, didn't you literally get married? What happened? I mean, you told me you had a kid. The man rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, well, it's probably for the best for him to grow up without a dad. It ain't in me to raise anyone, I ain't that. But you found love. The man choked on his breath as Naruto smirked. Why, you little shit, don't go saying that stuff, Fushi shivered as Naruto's sweat dropped. Ugh, I can feel myself getting softer because of you. It's my charm, Naruto snickered. Still, I don't think there's such things as can and can't. Life's not that simple. Hell, my cousin ended up a once-in-a-lifetime weirdo. What's to say I can't become a supreme grade badass? Supreme grade. Hey, sometimes, you gotta shoot beyond what's there. The man rolled his eyes but shrugged. Don't go and get yourself killed. Whether by a curse, a sorcerer, or even me. These days, they were all right, Fushi said as they faced one another. But, no offense, if it comes between my feelings and my paycheck, I don't think it's gonna be as easy. Maybe, but then I'll just beat you up, take you prisoner, and have you spend your days working as a father in a business? Naruto said cheekily as the man wore a look of disgust. Hey, it's a win-win for you, old man. Don't complain when life gives ya lemonade instead of lemons. HMPH, whatever, take care, kid, Fushi considered something with a huff. HMPH. Naruto grinned as his hair got ruffled before the man began to leave. Don't be a stranger, sensei. I'm sure you'll find me one way or another, he said as the man shrugged. Oh yeah, the man made a realizing sound. Megumi, he told Naruto, who blinked, the man ruffling his own hair. I gave him that name. Ha ha ha, Naruto laughed as the man grumbled but vanished from sight. You can be a better person than you are. Maybe, one day, you'll realize that, he said somberly but with a smile. Sometimes, people need their life to take a drastic turn. Naruto would follow up on his own words if things came to a head between them. Even if he'd make the guy a slave dad. 2 weeks later. The train ride to Kyoto had come with a few surprises. Ni-chan? Naruto looked surprised as Yutaheim nodded, sitting with him, Kushina, and Satoru. I'm confused, not to say you're not welcome, but what are you doing here? Oh, that's because she's being put for a teacher at Kyoto Jujutsu High, Kushina said with a smile as the younger woman blushed but nodded. Haim-chan was always good at handling the younger students and helping them develop. I guess they wanted to offer her some ideas or future plans. Well, I believe so, Yutaheim said. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, though. I've been happy to lead most of our students, she shot the grinning Satoru a look. Ignoring the special ones, it's inspiring to help the students master their talents, control, or even their cursed techniques. Hee, I'm sure they'll be glad to have you. Ni-chan, Naruto said with a grin as she smiled. Wish my situation was different, but it's what it is, he admitted as Yutaheim hummed. I understand. I wish I could teach you fully, but that doesn't mean I can't teach you, she smiled. I'm sure, when you're old enough and still have the same interest, you could learn how to handle cursed tools or even barriers and shikigami. There are methods to allow you to try your best, Naruto-kun. In fact, that's why he trains with the greatest, Satoru jumped in without hesitation. Yutahime's brow twitching in response. Why, I could make him a real beast once he's all big and strong. More like really uncultured. The last thing he needs is your input on his development. Hey now, I've been around my cousin since he was a baby, it'll be fine. Deniable, Yutahime rolled her eyes before removing something from her sleeves and giving it to Naruto. I was trying to see how your development would proceed, and I figured giving you these two would work. She smiled as Kushina grinned while Naruto took the offered tags. They were talismans, composed of golden parchment and black ink. Naruto turned them around before finding names on the back. Oni. Kitsuyon. Ni-chan, these are awesome, but how would I use them? Naruto smiled as Yutahime reciprocated. I know you, Ni-chan, I'm sure there's some kinda secret to these. Yes. Huh? Oh, you need to put blood on em, Satoru smirked as Yutahime's eyebrow twitched while Kushina chuckled. Why you? Haim-chan, please, I'm sure you can give us a more in-depth explanation, the silver-haired woman said as Yutahime stopped before blushing and grumbling. Why yes, well, ignoring his interruption, Yutahime's eyes narrowed. GOJO is correct, these talismans are a bit different because they rely on your physical body, she smiled at the boy as Satoru huffed. It wasn't easy to ask for this, but Yaga was helpful in this regard. They're similar to his cursed puppets, he said, but it takes in information from your soul or the material you use to conjure them. The thing is, when active, they're self-sufficient when it comes to cursed energy. They just need you to form a master bond with them through the act of giving blood. Naruto considered it with a grin. It's kind of like the Kucho's no jutsu, he thought, the product before him similar in function, apparently. So, just some blood? Would I need to do it all the time? Nope. Satoru stepped in while tilting his sunglasses up, ignoring Yutahime who grumbled. Once the master-servant bond is formed, you're going to be able to conjure them with but a thought. Naruto considered it while Kushina hummed. I'm surprised, wouldn't this be nice for everyone to have? I always wondered why more people didn't use shikigami, she said, combing her fingers through her hair. Somehow, someway, like animals slipping out of a forest, small red balls of light peeked out from by her ears before disappearing again. You're really amazing, Kushina-san, Yutahime said in awe as the woman chuckled a bit. Being honest, you didn't really stay a sorcerer for reasons I don't understand, no offense. Duh, she did the sappy stuff, GOJO said as Naruto laughed and Yutahime blinked before her expression brightened while Kushina's reddened. That's how Naru was born. He's not wrong, the boy grinned as Yutahime smiled softly at him. All right. Maybe not here? We'll do it when we get to your new home, the teacher-to-be said as the blonde chuckled in embarrassment. I know, you were probably excited. These did have your own words in mind. Naruto blinked in surprise along with his family. It did? Kushina asked as Satoru hummed. Yes. At one point, Naruto had quite the amazing concept, she explained. He wondered if shikigami couldn't be made to get stronger as the caster did. It had been something odd about a video game, I believe. Jade Cocoon too, Naruto and Satoru said in unison, not even bothered. It's so cool. Alright, Yutahime tilted her head. Honestly, video games? I thought you were bad at those, she asked the boy who blushed while Satoru snickered. I'm good at the ones which involve taking care of my partners and stuff, like Monster Rancher, Naruto mumbled with a squinty face, Yutahime's eyes shining at his fox-like expression. But what about the mixing part? I don't know if I ever mentioned that. Yaga didn't think that was impossible, but it wasn't feasible. For now, they're simply as you originally considered. They grow with you, they're caster, as long as they're not exercised. If they're destroyed, that's different, but they're still filled with cursed energy and getting exercised will break your connection. Getting to Kyoto, the four got off the train with the mother and son getting their luggage. Once they did, the group left the train station before traveling the streets of Kitaku, one of the 11 wards of Kyoto Prefecture. It's a lot more rural where we are, but it's close to the school, Kushina explained as they walked past stores, bakeries, and dojos before finding themselves on a bridge over Kamo River. And there are rice paddies we can go and see if we want to get some rest. It's pretty alright. No big restaurants? Satoru asked. No, but the Kinkaku-ji is here. Officially known as the Rokuin-ji, Yutahime explained to Naruto. It's also rumored to house a cursed object. Really? The boy asked as they came to a stop by a bayou, the site of the temple in the distance. Why doesn't anyone know? It's honestly annoying to get in, Satoru said, arms folded behind his head. Hell, they don't even let you see the wise kings, much less what might be enshrined inside of it all. He's right, sadly, there's not a lot to do about going in, Yutahime said as Kushina nodded. Still, Kyoto High is keeping an eye on it. Better safe than sorry. Reaching their new home, Naruto and Kushina grinned at a medium-sized two-story house with cream-colored walls, red shingles, and white-bordered windows. Going in through the dark red door, they found a comfy-looking living space with some furniture already inside. Satoru strutted on in before collapsing into a recliner and putting up the built-in leg rest. Ma. Yutahime rolled her eyes before looking at the back of the door where, on the four corners of it, oddly colored rectangular tiles sat. It's rather amazing just how incredible a normal person can be, she said as Kushina grinned. He easily became one of the best users of shikigami, talismans, and barriers we've ever seen. How? Where had this woman's husband come from? The man was a verifiable genius, and the fact he'd just been a normal person made the world a hilariously amazing place the more the faculty thought about it. Minato has always been just that smart. He's a smooth talker in his field of business and a downright criminal mastermind when it comes to schematics. Honestly, he's just that one amazing thing. A genius, Satoru piped in while sitting up and leaning on one armrest with a grin. Yeah, he is, especially because of how good he is, he said lazily as Yutahime blinked at him, looking confused. Haha, well, for one, he knows how to make a shikigami capable of bypassing my family's infinity. The area was silent as Yutahime stared at him, her expression of confusion slowly becoming more and colored by the sheer impossibility of what Satoru had just said. What? She asked for clarification. She had to. What Satoru Gojo had just admitted to was too outrageous to ignore. Yeah, trust me, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, the young man shrugged. It's likely because his curse technique is so unique. Hell, if he'd been a sorcerer, I'm sure he'd have been special grade, easily. I don't understand. How? Yutahime cupped her chin. Kushina-san, what exactly is Minato Uzumaki's curse technique? Kushina chuckled as she sat down with Naruto on a couch. Coordinate reversal, she explained as the woman blinked in confusion. Minato can shift coordinates of his energy and a target he's tagged with his own cursed energy. The thing is, that's not enough to defeat infinity. It's why Pops had to expand the point or something, Naruto explained as Yutahime blinked at him. Naruto-kan, I don't understand. If he can change a point of energy and my own, he can expand a customized simple domain inside of my safeguards, Satoru said with a shaky grin. That man is utterly terrifying. Yutahime's eyes widened. If he could already bypass his infinity, that means he's behind infinity, and since it can eternally expand. He can, essentially, nullify it, the young man admitted, flooring her. That bit of information took her several seconds to process. No one knows, do they? For what you lack in strength, you make up for in smarts, he said, and she growled. But yeah, it'd be a very bad idea to tell anyone about that, Satoru frowned, breaking her anger for a moment. Then she truly considered what was being implied and winced. You'd never know rest, she said to Kushina and Naruto, who nodded. I'm sorry for asking. No, it's fine, Hime-chan, you're a truly trustworthy person, Kushina smiled as the younger woman blushed. The thing is, even at its base, Minato couldn't exploit the loophole in infinity until he explained his cursed technique. With that boost, he could do it, the younger woman understood. Still, in a way, that just tells you how different the modern world is, Yutahime said as Naruto nodded. And how jujutsu is changing every day. I mean, that kind of power isn't something within the three main families and is just in some random person. Think about it. I think it's just because those old statues don't want to think about it, Naruto said as Satoru snickered and Yutahime smiled shakily. They care about only traditional kinda techniques. I don't think they'd try to accept the new types that are possibly all over. Well, I can't say you're wrong, Yutahime said, finding her seat on another couch opposite the mother and son's own. I mean, Nanami-kun's curse technique is still up for debate to them. Oh, right, Nanaman, Satoru grinned as she rolled her eyes despite trying to fight the amusement on her face. He's a guy who can put ratios on things, Ba-chan, Naru. Huh? The two blinked. The hell's that mean? Nanami Kento is his name, he's a first year, Yutahime explained. His curse technique is unorthodox and a bit esoteric, more like Satoru's own than normal kinds. Looking at a target, he can divide them or it into a line with 10 points, Gojo explained while leaning back with a grin. When he hits that ratio of 7-3, his attacks are more potent. Honestly, I'm sure that he'll be a grade 1 sorcerer. He's got all the things he needs. He just needs to get experience. He sounds like a nice young man with a brilliant future, Kushina grinned before patting her son's head. So, let's ensure we see this one's future as well, she chuckled as Naruto nodded. Now, Naruto-kun, I don't know if you're queasy around blood, Yutahime said to him, coming over and sitting beside him to point to his finger. I can open up a small wound so you can perform the ritual without too much trouble. Hee, I got this Ni-chan, Naruto said with a determined look, getting a chuckle out of her and a look of amusement from Kushina. Then the boy bit open a bit of his thumb and Yutahime shrieked. Naruto! It's not that bad, trust me, the former shinobi said without a wince as the woman trembled in horror, Satoru laughing like an idiot in the recliner. Now, like this. While Yutahime freaked out and Kushina tried to calm her down, Gojo's thumb came up to lift his sunglasses, the young man sitting down fully as he focused. Let's see what I can find again, he thought to himself as he watched Naruto place blood on those two Shikigami talismans. Has it changed since last time? With the limitless and 6 eyes, seeing the flow, intent, and mechanics of cursed energy was simple and easy to read, but when it came to Naruto, there was something odd. There's the restriction. The heavenly restriction placed on his young cousin always surprised the Gojo clan head. Not because it was one, he may have only seen a few of these cases, but they all shared a uniformity in them that made sense, in a way. Naruto's own hadn't. The restriction formed not a mass of chains that removed the ability to use cursed energy, but a mandala, a sort of shape that spread out on his back, chest, core, and head. Each of these mandalas connected to one another in an odd fashion, and it left him befuddled often because it shouldn't be so confusing. He couldn't see anything besides that, though, along with one other thing. Those mandala, they were slowly solidifying ever since he first saw them, the young man's eyes focusing even further. Before they were rebuffed. Rebuffed like always when he tried to push his perception and senses into solving Naruto's mystery. What is it? Watching the boy's talismans glow had him leaning back, mouth set in a smile that'd be seen as casual while his mind ran rampant. That's not a heavenly restriction like anything I've ever seen, and something was happening, as well. I don't know what this is. How had his 6 eyes been rejected? Even now, he felt a bit of a small headache, which wasn't something that happened unless he strained his eyes. Satoru simply allowed his thoughts to go away from the eternal mystery to watch Naruto's Shikigami appear, and he grinned a bit at the two. The two Shikigami sat at about the same height as the blonde, clearly to Yutahime's adoration, with chibified features that were relative to their master. The Oni hadn't been much of anything special. The creature was Naruto's height, bipedal, orange, and bearing a pair of golden horns on its head. Hilariously enough, it looked like a kid of its species with big black eyes on yellow sclere, a snaggletooth, and a head of spiky white hair, with its form being thin but strong, covered by a pair of baggy blue pants and a cheetah print mantle. The creature crossed its arms and deferred to the blonde. The fox, on the other hand, was more curious. The completely white creature sat in front of Naruto with a patient look, blue eyes with slit pupils never leaving the boy's form. It had red coloration over its eyes, paws, and tail tips. Yes, tips, as in more than one. The 2 foxtails it had were surprising because Satoru had been sure that the talisman had said fox and not kitsune, with the last bits on it being a black bead necklace around its neck and an cowlick of fur atop its head. The creature looked regal if not intriguing. Wait, he activated his curse technique once more and found his eyes widening. It's passing on to the Shikigami? What? The mandala had provided copies, it seemed, each Shikigami bearing one on their backs and chests in his vision. What's going to happen when it's complete? Satoru wasn't sure, but he had a hunch that the heavenly restriction might lift after it was. Still, why do the Shikigami have it? What was the point? He groaned mentally before dropping the thought entirely and focused on Naruto dealing with his new Shikigami. I'm gonna call you Kurama, the blonde grinned as the kitsune perked up, tails wagging. And you, Naruto turned to the waiting Oni. He looked at the horns on its head. Sage, he smiled as the creature perked up. He nodded rapidly as the kitsune leaned forward a bit. I guess we'll be working together, the boy grinned as he crossed his arms. I wonder what all dude Yaga made him do. Yuta was almost too taken with the cute creatures to answer, Kushina grinning the entire time. Satoru sneakily took out his phone before putting it on silent. He took picture after picture, looking to all the world like a smiling man who wasn't blackmailing anyone. Kushina looked at the rather expressive Shikigami. I guess it's definitely Yaga's touch. They're so unique, she said with a smile as the two Shikigami approved in their own ways. HM. Oh, you three are like a team now. Yuta phone was out and taking photos as she covered her mouth. Oh my god, they're so fucking cute, her mind raged as she took picture after picture. Truly, Naruto really was the gift that kept on giving. A month later. Naruto balked at Satoru as the clan head, Geto, and him walked away from Tokyo High. So, wait, what? The boy looked so confused. Wearing a pair of black ninja sandals, a pair of orange baggy pants, a black tunic, and a white cloak, Naruto blinked in disbelief. A new black set of bandages in place of his white bandana to cover his left eye. Why'd he send you guys? Hey, I mean, we are the strongest, Satoru said before considering the question as Geto rolled his eyes. Though, being nice and friendly ain't our forte, that's why you're here. Naruto sweat dropped. You guys are hopeless, he said. Well, hopeless will buy you a drink if you take it back, Satoru said with the look of a con man. Naruto's eyebrow rose before he grinned. All right, give me some passion fruit tea. One passion. Half hopeless one. Geto snickered as Satoru's form creaked. Loopholes, loopholes, I'm sure you know more than enough about those. Satoru's jaw dropped. They got their drinks before the two filled him in on the situation. Protect this girl because she'll be the next Tenjin? Naruto reiterated Geto's words, the brunette nodding while Satoru drowned his sorrows in tea. And that Q group and the, other one, he said with a hopeless grin. The Time Vessel Association. The curse user group Q wants to overturn the current way things are by destroying the new vessel so Tenjin Sama will evolve, he twitched his fingers, into a being unfit as the pillar of the world. What about the other guys? I mean, what's the point? The Time Vessel Association wishes to preserve Tenjin Sama without a merger. Yes, it's as stupid as it sounds, Geto chuckled at Naruto's look of pure confusion. Wait, they do realize he's done this before, right? He asked in disbelief. This has happened already. What? Yeah, non-sorcerers are pretty stupid, Satoru said. And we've got to protect them, he made a disgusted look as Geto sighed. That's the way of the world, he said, confusing Naruto. Well, Satoru believes that the strong shouldn't have to protect the weak. Anarchy? Seriously? Naruto said with a squinty-eyed look as the older Gojo groaned. He considered the concept. I'm guessing you think otherwise, Geto bro? Yes, the strong are meant to protect the weak and our institution keeps us in check. It's a responsibility, the cursed spirit user said as Naruto nodded slowly. If I had to put it into words, he began as Geto smiled encouragingly. In a way, you're both right, Naruto grinned as both older males shot him weird looks. Geto bros right in that the strong should protect the weak, I believe that. But I think Satoru Nyai's issue is that he feels like he'd be forced to. Satoru scratched the side of his nose. Maybe. It's not fair to force anyone into something they both didn't want to do and just decide for them. We're all born with our own will and the like. We have a freedom to choose. That said, I think, among all else, when you find something you want to protect, most of the time it'll be something weak. You're gonna be the strongest because you have something that's precious to you. Whether it's an ideal, a dream, a friend, family, or someone you're happy with. That's a nearly indescribable difference between someone who's just strong and someone who is strong. Satoru blinked at him, trying to wrap his mind around it while Geto looked, not worried but conflicted. Your words are a lot wiser than your age would show, Geto said with a look of being a bit lost. Why, though? Why do we have families? Naruto grinned. Why keep things you care about? Why hold people close you may believe in? Cursed energy may run on power like negativity, but humans don't. Geto looked alarmed while Satoru snickered. Maybe it's just a kid's way of looking at things, he offered his friend who cupped his chin. Or, crazy enough, maybe that's the way it's always been. Geto didn't know. Perhaps it was just childish ignorance, but Naruto had faced his own difficulties and trials growing up even to his current age. What boy just accepted ostracization? What kind of child understood the concept of old blood and tradition? Perhaps, maybe, Naruto did have a point. Geto wasn't sure. Naru's always been a positive thinker, Satoru said, ruffling the boy's head of hair. In a way, I guess this is also Auntie's genes in you. She always did have that kind of kindness, Naruto smirked as the older man snickered. It just comes with a temper. Yep. The two laughed as Geto smiled. Perhaps. Sheesh, I'm killing kids now, Fushi said as he sat in a restaurant in some black clothing. What? That girl is the Star Plasma Vessel, his contact, a man in a black suit with just as much as a sketchy look as himself, said. They'll pay 30 million yen for her, and the boy is Naruto Uzumaki, the blonde sheep of the GOJO family. Yes. I don't get it. Fushi put the picture of his old student down. Why? He asked, actually pretty confused. Nobody in the jujutsu world had given a fuck about the blonde Goju. Outside of his two family members and people not involved, it wasn't wrong to say that Naruto essentially didn't matter to those in the higher-ups. And, somehow, these guys wanted that kid dead? Color him confused. Yeah, I never understood it myself, the other man said, lighting a cigarette. But I think it's because they found a divination sorcerer who gave them some details. Fushi's eyes widened. That kid could make a muck of things, for some reason. The man shrugged as the other one rolled his eyes. So, what's the point? I can just kill the girl and not do all that extra effort, Fushi groaned before noting his mediator's expression. I think you're under a misconception. Fushi's eyes narrowed. They want the boy, the other man said, confusing him. I told you, they had a divination, but there was more to it, the mediator frowned with a raised brow. That diviner, they said something odd. They spoke of this Naruto kid like he was the GOJO clan's second coming. What? Fushi blinked at that. How? Because he's supposedly the reverse of Satoru Gojo. HMPH, speaking of hopelessness, Geto said as the three boys looked up at a large apartment building, an explosion coming out from one of the top rooms. That's not our fault, is it? Yo, Naruto said, pointing to something falling from that room. She needs help, Geto bro. Yeah, Geto said with a smirk as he ran ahead with Naruto, Satoru simply lifting his sunglasses and watching the explosion. Satoru. There's a Q guy there, the clan head said as Geto's eyebrows narrowed while Naruto flared out a talisman. Kurama, Naruto called out, and the talisman glowed. It unleashed his Kitsune Shikigami before the boy jumped on top of it, and they began to scale the wall of the apartment. Geto bro, You're slow, Geto smirked as he flew past on a manta ray cursed spirit. Get faster than me. Oi! Naruto huffed but sighed in relief as the older male caught the falling girl. There's someone there, he frowned as Kurama kept going before they saw the person they were dealing with. He was a tall man with a cloth mouth covering, fair skin, and beady eyes. Wearing a white hat, a white double-breasted top, a black mantle, pants, and boots, he glared at Geto before finally noticing him. You, the man began to say, Naruto noticing a figure's head in his hands. So, he flung out his second Shikigami. Sage. The orange Oni's form appeared in front of the man. What? The young-looking Shikigami's fist sent him flying. This strength? His grip on his hostage fell limp, and Naruto slipped in just in time to catch her. Kurama. The curse user's form slipped out of the way of the foxy spirit's headbutt that cratered the wall. Where's this strength coming from? Are they compressed? The man thought as he slipped to the side before raising his hands at the boy. Wait, it's you. Huh? Naruto looked confused before the man's face contorted even behind his mask. You got a problem with me, old man? The blonde's eyes narrowed, his spirits flanking him. No, in fact, it's quite a bit different, the Q member said with a gleam in his eyes. You're more of a ticket than a problem. There was a stream of heat ahead of the blonde. And then there was another explosion from the apartment. Guido's eyes narrowed before another explosion came from down below. Satoru can handle that one. His cursed spirit moved towards the opening in the wall before Guido called 2 more cursed spirits into the room. Then he sighed in relief as the Q member stared in confusion at the barrier of flame-like energy around Naruto and the knocked-out woman, the kitsune standing in front of the two and his fellow Shikigami with his tails glowing. Sage. The boy threw his hand forward as the Oni Shikigami shot out of cover and towards the curse user. The man scoffed before taking aim. Another stream of heat shot towards the Shikigami before being followed by a string of explosions that missed. His head snapped up before a fist came down on his noggin. The blow stunned the man, sending him stumbling before the Oni child grabbed his head. Guido snickered as the man's face was sent into the floor, cracking the wooden panels by the Oni Shikigami. When Sage removed his hand, the enemy didn't move. Nice! Naruto praised the now flexing Shikigami as Guido came in with a smirk. Good work. Your application of your spirits and mental commands are honestly rather ridiculous as always, which was true. Ever since receiving them, Naruto's training with the 2 Shikigami always resulted in a single opinion. The boy's reflexes were scarily top-notch, no way to understate it. Naruto, even now, was likely able to react to anything, especially with his little sensory skill. Speaking of, do you feel anything? He asked, and the boy's eyes closed while Kurama's form sat next to him, glowing a soft gold. They expand on it. Well, the Kitsune Shikigami did. How odd. No, Anaki's got the other guy taken care of, too, Naruto said with a smile. And, as if summoned, Satoru appeared with another knocked-out Q member. He looked around with an impressed nod. Good work, Naru. I can tell, you've got quite the sorcerer in you, the clan head said with a smirk before dropping the enemy he'd fought on the ground. So, what's the next move? He asked the 2. Thank God we remembered to set up a screen, Satoru said as he, Guido, Naruto, and Naruto's Shikigami made it to another location with the knocked-out women. With the blonde Shikigami carrying the 2, they could keep all their hands free and prepared. With Yaga's help, I'm sure we'll send a message to those Q guys, Satoru said before Naruto perked up. Oh, right, he said, confusing the 2. Those guys said something weird about me. So, nothing unusual? Idiot, Guido smirked. Go on, he's just being problematic. So, nothing unusual? Naruto snickered as Satoru gasped. Whatever, ya drama queen, this is kinda serious, he said as the 2 blinked. That guy, he said I was their ticket or something. Ticket? The 2 students looked at one another. What? I don't know. All I know is that I told Yaga bro that he needs to grill him. He seemed prepared to try and take me. Satoru's eyes narrowed as he cupped his chin. That so? What do you think? He asked Guido. It's not like they cared before. Why now? Naruto's only connection to any current event right now is through your 6 eyes. That's too stretched of a connection. There was a ring from Naruto's pockets, and the blonde pulled out a phone as they came to a stop. The taller males crouched down as he answered, Yaga bro. Naruto, I have a feeling it'd be a good idea for you to stay by GOJO, and Suguru's sides came a gruff but concerned voice. This thing just got complicated. What? The young men in question frowned. What do you mean? I mean that they want the boy for reasons even these guys are unsure of. The Time Vessel Association do. They seem to have gotten divination from some sorcerer and decided to pay these guys if they could kidnap Naruto. Satoru's eyes narrowed, blue eyes glistening for a moment. That's so. It seems like they know something about Naruto that we don't, and that's important enough for them to try and keep him. They don't want him dead like Rico Aminai, the star plasma vessel. This got weird quickly. I have to assume it has something to do with Tenjin-sama. No? Guido suggested. I mean, there's literally nothing else that's going on right now, right? If something was, it'd be quite the worrisome situation. There shouldn't be unless GOJO heard something from his clan. Nah, they haven't talked to me in... The young man's face went blank. I think for a couple years now. God, our family sucks sometimes, Naruto muttered as Satoru smirked. Yaga bro, what should we do? For now, just follow through on your mission, Yaga said kindly. You're between two nearly unstoppable forces. Trust me, there's no safer place for you, but once this is all over, you might need to keep your head down for a bit, alright? Alright, hopefully this doesn't become a big problem. You and me both. The call ended and Naruto tucked his phone away. So, I'm now wanted. Didn't see that coming. True, Geto added with a deep frown. Still, perhaps they know what's actually odd about your situation. If they do, we might be able to get a lot out of this, he smiled as Naruto chuckled. Yeah, this might be perfect, Satoru said with a sly grin. Once we're done with the baggage, we can yo, he began to say, looking eager, before jumping and holding his rear. Who's the wise guy? Me, you idiot, came a feminine voice from behind them. The boys turning to see none other than the two women they'd brought standing up. Well, one of them. If you want to die, go do it on your own. Huh? The one who'd spoken was the younger of the two females, the special one, the star plasma vessel. Riko Aminai. She'd been of average height for a girl in her teens with peach skin, dark blue eyes, and black hair with a yellow bandana in it that ended in a ponytail. Wearing a girl's school uniform, she pointed at the three with an annoyed look. Geto smiled disarmingly. Please, Riko, we're not here to hurt or kidnap you. Stuff it, liar. Twitch. You think I'd believe someone with a face like yours? Twitch. And what's with that weird-ass side bang? Did you lose a bet? Seconds later, the girl was screaming as the two students began to pull on her limbs. Respect your elders, Geto said ominously as Satoru grinned in revenge. Naruto rolled his eyes as he stood next to the girl's caretaker, who was currently obsessed with holding Sage like he was a teddy bear. The Oni didn't look bothered. She had white skin, black eyes, and black hair tied up in a neat bun that was covered by a white hair bun cover with two chin-length bangs on the sides of her face. Wearing a black dress, skirt, leggings, and shoes, she had on a collared shirt beneath her dress and a white apron over her skirt, looking on with a sweat drop. I guess they're as hot-blooded as she is, she said to Naruto, who chuckled nervously. Yeah, right, I don't know your name, Ni-chan. Oh, pleased to meet you, young man, I am Misato Kiroi. The caretaker smiled and bowed to him while the others bickered or, in Riko's case, got stretched out in repentance. And you are? Naruto Uzumaki, at your service. Oh, you're that Naruto-kun. You know me? Yes, from what connections I do have with the Jujutsu world, you've been a hot topic as of the last 2 years, Kiroi explained as he rubbed the back of his head. It's because that's when they were sure I didn't have any cursed technique. I'm just the black sheep, he explained as she frowned. It's what it is. I've still got Anarchy over there and my parents. I just lived my life how I choose. Well, I suppose, she said. I'm fine at school, you know, came Riko's voice, gaining their attention. Wait, school? Kiroi, what time is it? A bit before noon, Kiroi considered. But perhaps school can why? Nonsense, I'm going. So, Yaga said that Tenjin-sama said to just go along with what she wants, Naruto said as Satoru groaned while Geto nodded. The four of them, Kiroi included, standing in the forests outside of Renchoku Girls' Junior High. I'm not surprised, he said. Once this all happens, all of this, Geto gestured to the world around them, is never going to be hers to walk in again. She'll be down below, working with Tenjin-sama to be the linchpin of our society. Family, friends, connections, they'll sadly all go away. Is there really no way for her to see the outside world? Naruto asked as Kiroi held onto Sage gently, head down. Sis? It's I wish for the same, Naruto-kun, Kiroi said, messing with the Oni child Shikigami's fingers. Riko-sama has no family anymore, not after an event from when she was 4, Naruto winced while Satoru crossed his arms, expression unreadable behind his glasses. There's no more relatives for her? But that makes you her family, Geto chuckled as the woman blushed but nodded. You've helped her more than anyone could have expected. Yep, Naruto grinned as Kiroi smiled a bit. Family's not just about blood, sometimes it's as simple as feeling like it. If you believe your family and happy with one another, no one could say otherwise. Yes. Yeah, Naruto began to say before his eyes narrowed to a part of the school. Aniki, bro. Intruders? Satoru's eyes narrowed as Guido's fingers pressed to his forehead. 2 of them have already been exorcised, Guido said with a frown. We need to grab Riko. The 6, including the Shikigami, hurried out of the forest, hurrying to the side of the girls' only school to rush in through a custodian door. Where's Amanai? Satoru asked Kuroi. At this time, the music room or the chapel, the caretaker said as the group slowed down by an intersecting hallway. The chapel is this way, Kuroi said nervously, pointing down the direction. And the music room. She's this way, Naruto said, pointing down the hall, surprising Kuroi for a moment before her eyes widened. She's in the chapel. Then I'll head after the intruders, Guido stated before finding Naruto at his side. They separated, the boy said as he looked up. One's going up while one's right down their hall and to the right. Hee, good job, Satoru said as he and Kuroi ran. We'll handle Amanai. Go and deal with those schmucks, he told them as the 2 disappeared down the hall. All right, let's do this, Naruto said with a grin. Kurama and Sa. Oh my god, he facepalmed as Guido snickered. K Kuroi ni has. Sage? I'm so bad at this. They'd found the first intruder fast thanks to the blonde's sensory skill, their old man of an opponent coming down a hallway before looking at them in surprise. Aniki. Yeah. The old man's hands flashed out, talismans in both, but before they could summon anything, Guido had already released a cursed spirit that seemed to engulf the hallway towards him. Tisk. There was a crash of stone, plaster, and glass as the spirit wriggled around. HMPH, Guido nodded before Naruto faced a window with Kurama. Kurama, the boy called out to the Shikigami who nodded, the kitsune's tails glowing. HMPH, Naruto dropped his weights, the metal objects around his ankles thunking as they hit the floor. Right as the old curse user came through the window, arms crossed with a knife in his grip. Guido's eyebrow rose before Kurama flashed a golden light into their opponent's face, blinding him and allowing Naruto to tackle the man mid-air before clasping his arms around his waist. What? And suplexed the man right into the ground, the curse user's legs twitching as the boy let go before flipping off him, landing next to Guido. There, handled, Naruto grinned as the cursed spirit user blinked before laughing a bit. Your senses continue to be top-notch. It's honestly comforting that the next generation has such capable warriors, the older male smirked as Naruto folded his arms behind his head. Come, let's get to the second one before he causes trouble. He's heading towards the chapel, Naruto said with narrowed eyes. Let's go, he said. Bring this one, Guido said, pointing to the knocked-out old man, going over and pulling the curse user out of the ground like a vegetable. We might be able to glean more information about this whole situation. They hurried to the top of the school before rushing down the roof to look down at the chapel. Just in time to see a familiar trio hurrying down its roof and into the nearby suburban areas. Why is he leading him into the populated areas? Guido frowned before he and Naruto jumped off the top of the school. I have to assume Kuroi was able to hypnotize the students. Doing all of this out in the open is troublesome, he said before flicking out 2 fingers. A pair of cursed spirits, one a familiar manta ray and the other an disfigured eagle, appeared, allowing the 4 to land on them, Kurama holding their defeated opponent in his extending tails. There are 5 similar signatures following them, Naruto shouted as their rides took off at high speeds. Is it a cursed technique? Seems like it, Guido answered as they began to gain on the 8. Still, this ought to be good for us. With at least 2 prisoners, we can work out more ideas on what to do. As the 8 figures made it on top of houses and small complexes, another curtain, a seemingly inkai black splotch, was thrown over the area, Naruto and Guido barely making it in before it fully took shape. There's someone else here, Guido said with a frown. There's someone else around. Naruto's eyes went all about the area, senses raised. I can't whoever this is, their cursed energy isn't all that different from a normal person's. I have a feeling they're like our assistant directors, maybe? Just like us, that wasn't good. How big is this attacking force? Gito didn't like the idea of facing a possible attack force similar to the Zenin clan's their high-grade attack force. It seems that Satoru's handling this as well as we expected, he said as their ride came to an end, the two watching as Satoru essentially manhandled his opponent. A large hulking man with a bag over his head, a shirt, and a pair of pants. There were 5 copies of this man on the nearby rooftops, 2 of which had been pulled and slammed together by a light blue haze in the air. Blue, Naruto said with interest, rubbing the back of his head. God, I hate trying to sense it. It's always such a pain in the brain. Really? Gito was curious. Can you make something out about it? It's like impossible points of energy mixed together. My senses can kinda make sense of it, but it hurts the more I do. It's like he pulls it from a different dimension and stuff, but doesn't? Naruto offered, like it made sense. Infinity's kinda stupid when it comes to explaining it, and then there's Limitless that makes the world clearly feel awkward. Why? Because it's limitless. I can't really get a feel on it, but it's obviously there. Think of it like an actual ghost. Naruto's face went blank as Gito laughed. Then, consider infinity like an endless pool. The thing is, the ghost can pull the 2 ends of that pool together in a loop like an asshole. Don't let Iori hear you, Gito smirked as Naruto whined. She'll just come by to clobber Satoru though. No, please, ignore my words. Right. Things came to an end in, surprise surprise, Satoru's favor with one last uppercut, the 4 coming down to join up with the others. Huh? Riko blinked as she saw the cursed spirits and then the Shikigami. Oh my god, you're so cute, she said in Naruto's direction. Naruto chuckled as he shot Kurama a thumbs up. Huh? He was picked up and left confused as she mashed their cheeks together. Hey. Where have you been? Riko asked in awe. Thank God there's a cute boy around here. Satoru blinked before pointing at his face. Excuse you, handsome is over here, he said flatly as she shot him a flat look. Oi. Kuroi smiled in relief. Thank you, Naruto-kun. It was good we could separate our forces properly without being caught unawares, she said as she held Sage like before. Yep, I'm glad, Naruto began to say, already giving in to his fate, before he felt something off. What? He blinked in confusion, head snapping to the side. You guys? Heads turned in that direction, and they all saw them. A swarm of cursed spirits, weak ones that wouldn't even do anything, but a swarm so large that it nearly blotted out the sun. A desperation move? Satoru considered with a raised brow. Yeah, no, he said, but his eyes narrowed. There's no one over there, which was odd. Then there was a yelp that had them turning around to see Riko hitting the floor with a look of disbelief. And no Naruto. The F? Satoru and Gito choked while Kuroi's eyes shrank. Naruto? An indeterminable amount of time later. In Okinawa. They grinned as they sat in the shade of an umbrella, eating shaved ice at a picnic table on the beach. I got so easily. Naruto kept slamming his head down on the wooden surface, groaning under Kuroi's watchful eye. Be careful, Naruto-kun, you'll hurt yourself, she said, rubbing the boy's head. It's not something to be so worried about, regardless. You're not at fault when you did your best, Kuroi said, wearing a black skin-tight swimming top and bloomers. Yeah, Riko grinned, wearing a black bikini, a straw hat, and a beach jacket. You saved me from getting nabbed. As the future Tenjin, I'm sure I could pull some strings, she said with a gleam in her eye. Naruto grumbled with a pout in his orange swim trunks and black weights, Kuroi smiling while pinching his cheek. Satoru snickered, wearing a black beach jacket and swim trunks. Haha, it wasn't that bad. Besides, we also got more info on you, he said with a sly grin as Riko perked up. What was that all about? She asked. The situation is as such, Gito began. The Q group, thankfully, has disbanded. Naruto looked so confused. Yes, having their greatest member defeated left them without a head, so they couldn't reign in the immediate anarchy. Immediate what now? Don't worry about it. Then, with those 2 men we caught near Riko's school, things got odd, especially when we had to save you. So, explain to me again, why'd you let them take him? The hired hand hummed as he ate some takoyaki. Toji. Toji, not Fushi, shrugged. Because it'll work out in the end, he said with a grin as his mediator groaned across from him at the same table. Did you not see how that GOJO brat acted? He was pushing all his senses to the max to try and find the kid. That's good. You're trying to tire him out, the other man said with a sigh before eating some gyoza. HMPH. I guess your other bet also worked out. We didn't have to pay those men a single yen, but they likely snitched. Toji snorted. So? God, why do I work with you? They called you their special technique, Kuroi said as she rubbed Naruto's shoulder. They know something odd about you, Naruto-kun, and we're sure it has to do with your heavenly restriction. Yep, Satoru said as he stretched, Riko eating while paying attention. I don't know if you noticed. You mean when you'd use 6 eyes on me, right? Naruto offered, surprising Geto while Satoru grinned a bit. I figured you were trying to figure something out. You weren't exactly trying too hard. Huh? Satoru blinked, sitting up in confusion. What do you mean? I got a slight headache trying to look into your energy, I wonder. He cupped his chin while Geto blinked. Actually, about that, he said. Naruto told me, right before getting kidnapped, the boy's head hit the table. That he gets headaches, too, sometimes, when he tries to sense out infinity and limitless, but he can sense it on some level. Well, actually, that's crazy. Why? Riko asked. I mean, wait, didn't you say your technique thing worked by actually going to infinity? Exactly, Satoru said as Naruto huffed while lifting his head. They always called Naruto a defect of our clan, his hair, his eye, and just his general lacking of cursed energy and also a cursed technique made the others think he was a misfortune, but I was always so sure it was different. He considered the blonde's single strand of silver hair and his covered left eye. You see, Naru's actually got an eye just like my own. Those eyes shouldn't be possible. They've never been in 2 people at the same time. Oh, beneath his bandages? Kuroi looked concerned, but Geto waved her off. I was under the impression you were injured, she said to Naruto, who shook his head before undoing his coverings. Nope, they just hate seeing it, the boy said, left eye closed as the black wrappings spilled on the table. If it was going to cause Mom and Aniki trouble, I'd just hide it, Naruto said as he opened it. It's just like this, guys, Riko said as Satoru snorted. What's it do? Nothing. Really? I think? No, I'm sure it does something, Satoru said, not even looking at the blonde's revealed eye. So, what about that marking on it? Riko asked as he froze before snapping back up and leaning forward. Marking, Kuroi and Geto said in confusion. Naruto blinked and Satoru's glasses were immediately off as he looked into the younger Gojo's left eye. She's right, there it was, that odd mandala. And it was more complex. It's a weird-looking thing, Riko said as she squinted while leaning forward, eyes reflecting the light within Naruto's own. What does it mean? Why can Riko see it? Kuroi asked. Perhaps it's because of the qualities that make her a compatible merger candidate, Geto considered. I always was confused why Riko never showed any special traits or the like. You know, it was just weird. I suppose I do see your point. Riko-sama is supposedly a rare match, but she's never sported any odd powers, Kuroi said, looking to Riko for answers. The girl shrugged. Not like I've noticed, she admitted before turning to Gojo. Still, what about Naru? Is he gonna have an technique like yours? Most likely, Gojo wasn't sure. The thing is, Naruto's eye is special, but I don't know what the deal with it will be. That symbol Riko's spoken of, it's a mandala, he said. He explained his previous dives into Naruto's energy system and soul, exposing his results. On his Shikigami? The other Jujutsu high student balked. It imprinted on their souls, that was odd. Not to say he knew Yaga's technique, but surely Naruto, who had no cursed energy, shouldn't have had such an effect unless... I wonder, he said, gaining their attention. You remember what they said? Naruto's a special technique. Naruto is. There might very well be something special about his body and not his energy. Naruto crossed his arms in thought. My body? The former shinobi might have understood. What with the whole reincarnate 4 times over business, Naruto was sure his soul might have been different but his body. Or it's like that old theory, Kuroi considered as the boy shot her a look. I've heard the prospect that some believe the soul defines the body or vice versa. There have been individuals who approach the concept ever since the advent of cursed energy. She looked uneasy. Of course, those individuals weren't great people, but it's a saying that's persisted to this day. Perhaps it has some weight. If it's the heavenly restriction, the question I'd have is, what exactly did it trade his cursed energy for? Satoru considered. Restrictions aren't man-made, they're natural things that happen to people who have cursed energy when they're born. I've seen it a couple times in books, so there's a chance Naruto's body was affected in exchange for that cursed energy. We've been wondering for a while what it could be. Well, I mean, he's got whisker marks. Those ain't normal, no offense, Riko said as Guido considered her words. But that's it, unless his dad's not got blonde hair. He does. Naruto's father has especially powerful blonde hair, but the GOJO gene has always been notable in its dominance. The fact Naruto has mostly blonde hair, that could have actually been more significant than we thought. It's related, at least, the cursed spirit manipulator said. Is it not the natural energy I can pull in but do nothing with? Naruto wasn't even sure if he was doing that. Ever since being reborn into this second life, for him anyway, the natural energy of the world simply didn't respond well to him. It was also utterly consumed by negative energy, cursed energy, and yet that never did much. It got easier with time to pull it in, but the blonde never felt like it was going anywhere. It just came and went. HMPH, for now, we'll have to simply wait things out. Your bounty's supposed to be over in a couple days, Satoru said as Naruto squawked. Hold on, what? The boy shrieked. Ah, you didn't know, Kiroi looked sheepish before frowning. Riko-sama has a bounty on her head. That's why those curse users were about. They were there to kill Riko on behalf of the Time Vessel Association, she told the boy who gawked. That's insane. Yes, it is, Guido said with a smile, confusing the blonde before he perked up. Yep, the time limit is hours before the merger is to happen. Around 11 a.m., he shrugged. I guess it's either the money or the lack of wanting unnecessary danger. Hours before the merger. Really though, Naruto considered. I mean, would that be smart? What's to stop him from putting the bounty back up? He asked the group who blinked. There'd be no time, Satoru considered it now that he was saying it. You don't think? No, I don't think any of the others are traitors, but who's to say they won't set someone up by the school? When he thought about it, Satoru frowned. He has a point, Kiroi said with a worried look. Don't take this as any offense, Gojo-san, Suguru-san, but just because you think you're invincible doesn't mean you are. The two winced at that, especially considering their track record over the past couple of days. Whether it was their slow trek to meet up with Riko or Naruto getting kidnapped right next to them, they didn't want a third try at someone testing their sense of duty or combat. It's fine, I'll handle it, Satoru said with a thumb at his chest. I'll keep an eye out for any hint of a sorcerer. Hint of a sorcerer, why did Naruto feel very worried all of a sudden? So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Nasha Rei-Kun on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then goodbye.